everyone. Welcome to the Startup Podcast. I'm your host, Tristen Mancilla, aka Brownimator. And if my voice sounds familiar, it's because you probably heard me on the Football Amateur Show, another podcast that I'm a host of. Alfonso, shut up. Your contract is not valid here.
Oh my god.
So
okay,
yeah,
wait, Tristen, what about my contract? Do I have
You're a guest right now, as the moment executive producer.
Making sure.
I have my co-host here, Alfonso Castaneda, the host of the Football Amateur Show at the.fa.show.
Show and on Instagram. Thank you very much for having me on here. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And my lifelong, my best friend and the visionary behind a lot of creative productions that we work on, Chris Aceves.
Thank you. Hello everybody. My name's Chris Aceves, and I'm on my best friend's podcast.
Ooh. Hey, best friend?
Oh, getting all teary-eyed. Don't
know,
don't get all emotional on me.
This is why people are gonna make Yahweh of us later in the future.
Wait, what?
Yahweh. Okay, so
it's like male gay porn.
It's male gay anime porn. They're gonna make. They might as well make it out of like all three of us. You feel me?
I'm good.
That's an honor, bro. That's an honor. Imagine like rolling up to Anime Expo and some fangirl's like, "Hey guys, check this out," right? And it's just all three of us, like,
Can you guys sign it?
Right? Could you sign it? I'll be down. I'll be like, "Hey, let me sign this." So who has the biggest dick? Tristen.
Oh my god.
Like,
I'll take it.
all right. Who's the sub? You? Oh, okay.
What up?
What up? Never mind. I won't sign this.
All right, but back to business here. Well, let's see. Like the Football Amateur Show, it's fun, but everyone that watches it knows that I am not the most educated soccer player there.
Right on.
So
you say it's soccer for Christ's sakes.
That's true.
You say soccer.
I've been on that show like so much. It's been so much fun. You guys almost got me calling it football once. Caught me slipping. Not again.
That is catching you slipping.
Yeah, I know, for real. But this show is a bit more about the artists. See, I'm an animator. Chris and I are animators. We're also filmmakers. Mm-hmm. And I think we talked a little bit on our interview, Alfonso. I actually did an interview for the Football Amateur Show that'll never come out.
It will be coming out soon. It will be coming out.
That's like our backup.
Give it time.
We recorded it like weeks ago. We've been saving it for.
I've been saving it for one of those weeks where it's kind of slow.
You always need a backup.
Yeah. I've been saving it. It's a good episode. That's why I really love it.
Right.
I really love it. I gotta save it for one of those weeks.
There you go.
Yeah. I know. But all right. So I think I've talked a little bit already about like Alfonso, how you and I met. Chris, I think I also talked on that about how you and I met. Mm-hmm. But let's go into a bit more detail here about like what we've done.
Well, previously we worked on a film all together called Darling, which was pretty great.
That was our first,
it was our first collaboration. Junction. Yeah. That's why I met Chris. Actually, I hadn't met Chris before that. Yeah,
exactly.
That was
you got us together.
Yeah. I got us together, but Alfonso got me into it, and he got the rest of the group together.
Yeah, so, and the group was great. Yeah, it was fun. That was fun.
That was a really fun project. And then,
man, what was his name? Michael.
Michael was great.
I think we met like him in the actual room. Because I don't think he had a team yet.
Tell that story, Chris. Tell that story, Chris. It was Chris, too. This is Chris, by the way.
Yeah, so we were all in the room and stuff, and like I'm looking around.
It was for a meeting. No, it was for a meeting.
Yeah, it was. I forgot what room it was, but it was you, me, and I think Netta.
No, it was just you and me.
You and me, right?
That was the crew at the time.
Yeah, it was just you and me. I think you had class or something.
So it was just me and Chris at this meeting. Yeah. It was a meeting before the movie fest started.
Yeah, of course. It like specs and like the rules and whatnot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like So I turn around, right, and I see this kid, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, you don't got a team yet, or like, what's up?" And he's like, "Nah," and I'm like, "Why don't you come join ours, yeah?" And he's like, "All right."
And it turned out to be one of the best filmmakers.
He was a great cinematographer. He had a backup camera too. He was an amazing.
He knew what he was doing. He had the light equipment too, I think.
Yeah, he bought
from his friend. Equipment? Yeah, he borrowed it.
So that was really weird. That's how we put that whole thing together, just like that chance connection.
Low key, if it wasn't for him, like.
We probably wouldn't have made something that good.
Like his film, like his way, he knew the camera.
He knew a way to move around the camera. It was very.
He knew all the effects, and I'm like.
It was very fun, working with the whole group. It was me, Alfonso, Chris, our screenwriter Antoinetta that I helped with too. But
Michael.
And Michael Zhu. And our gaffer, I can't forget our gaffer.
Gaffer,
our
Beto,
gaffer,
man. Got a big shout out to Beto, man.
Arigato, Beto-san.
Hell yeah, dude. He was great, dude. He was like the spirit of the
he
team.
Was,
yeah,
bro.
The heart of the team.
Yeah, he kept it going, bro.
Legit.
Yeah, for sure. So, we were all stressed and what. Dude, I remember when Netta was like, "All right, I can't cry over watching like."
There was this one scene where we had to try to get her crying, and then we had to get her crying, so we were showing her different videos and stuff like that, and. I remember we were like, oh, show her that one part from Good Will Hunting.
Yeah,
That part is
going
fuck
like
with me.
the saddest scenes in cinema history.
Yeah, just to like get her going. She's like, oh, this isn't getting me going.
Yeah,
Animals,
and I was like,
dude.
how does that not make you cry? And then,
Right?
And then she watches a video about like adopting dogs or something like that.
Yeah.
And which is okay, it's sad, but I was like,
It's
come
alright.
on,
Good Will Hunting,
come
no.
on, Good Will
You know,
Hunting
Matt
style?
Damon. You know?
Yeah, for real.
Come on.
Titanic, nothing.
And then
No.
she just started like crying, and then I'm in the background trying to stop my laughter. I'm like, dude, how's she
It's so
crying over
funny,
this?
bro.
Dude,
I
was
know for real. They were
dying.
like, film it, and like for like a minute she
Shoot
was
it, shoot it.
crying.
Let's go.
That was a fun experience. That was our first film, Darling. You could probably find it on YouTube if you search up Darling, Campus Movie Fest.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then,
go for it. Yeah.
No, our second film after that was In Your Arms. That was solely me, Tristen, and my cousin, Adriana. Appreciate you. Adriana Aguilar?
I've never actually learned how to say that last name. To be honest.
It's Aguilar or is it?
It's like Aguiar.
Yeah, Aguilar or
Whoa,
something.
without the L? Interesting.
Yeah. You think there'd be an L,
I
right?
haven't seen that.
Yeah,
There should be an L.
Right? But anyway, point being, we filmed that in one night, basically. We did a lot of the, what is it called? Pre-production. We really focused on pre-production, and then we filmed, we filmed it within 2 days. I remember the first day we tried testing some things, and then we just cut it off because it was kind of weird. And the second day we went all in, and we were there till her house till like what, 12?
Something like that.
1 a.m. And then afterward, we had a day of straight production. And that was the day we had to turn it in.
The editing?
Yeah,
that was
and you know what? It was awful. I had work that day too, so I had to go in at 6 a.m.
Well, explain what it is, though. It's like the whole movie fest is about making the movie.
Oh, yeah, Campus Movie. So for those of you who don't know, Campus Movie Festival, you probably don't know. It's a festival that travels across all colleges, I think, or a lot of colleges.
Majority of them,
in the nation. They loan out equipment and they have you make a short film, 5-minute short film within 1 week. That's your construction. That's your deadline.
Yeah.
And so, like normally people spend the first, I don't know, maybe day or two with pre-production. Some people cheat and already have the idea ready. Which we're actually going to do too. So, but we'll get into that later.
Just kidding.
You just snitched on us, bro, on the podcast.
No, it's allowed. I checked the rule book. It's allowed.
Okay.
But and then you have you're only allowed to do production and editing within that week. Yeah. Or like you have to do all that within the week. You can't record anything beforehand.
Right.
So that was our first film, Darling. Our second film, In Your Arms. Yeah. And my God, we did first 2 days pre-production.
Yeah, first 2 days pre-production. 3 days I think we took a break.
Like half a day of filming. And then the next day we just like filming. A full day of filming.
And then the next day editing, and it was it's because my camera, it's a Sony A7 II. Sony, you sons of guns! Why the hell do you guys make your file format so difficult to transfer over? It was like
what's different? What's the format?
I don't even know what the format was.
I honestly can't remember, but it was not being compatible with.
Really?
It was giving us some very difficult problems.
Exactly.
And the thing is, after we finished recording, finished filming everything that we wanted that night, we drove home to Chris's house 2 a.m. And we were just trying to stay up all night.
He knocked out because I told he's like, bro, I gotta go home. I'm like, nah, bro, he's staying here. We gotta finish this, bro. Right? And I was like, just he was such like you were so off put about sleeping on my bed. You're like, bro, I just sleep on the beanbag. I'm like, fool, just sleep on the bed. He's like, all right, no questions asked, just go for it. He just knocked out, and then I was working on it for a good minute, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh damn, I don't know how to do this. What was it? What was it that I had to do?
I think all the audio got deleted.
Yeah, all the audio was off.
Or it was reason. The audio
wasn't playing.
It was corrupted file or something.
Okay.
And so I was just like, damn, Tristen will figure this out. And so I went to work from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
And then then at that point, that's when I woke up and it was just like, the film.
Because it's the due on that.
Yeah, it was due
later that day.
Oh, that day.
Yeah. It was bad. Yeah, so I woke up, I stumbled my way into our little studio room. I looked at the computer. I was like, where's everything go? All the audio's gone. I was trying to listen to it. Like, what did Chris do? All the audio's gone. And so I was just like, damn it. I took a couple minutes, and then I managed to fix it all. I managed to put it all together, yay me. And my God, that was a pain in the ass.
Dude,
that was the scariest moment. Yeah,
that was the scariest moment of the day. And then after we came to school, actually, because I think we tried turning it in the first time, and it didn't work because of the file format.
Yeah.
So then we went over to the library for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah,
and,
way
like,
past the deadline.
Yeah, we
point
went
at this
past the
time.
deadline, and we were like, they were just still there because they wanted everybody to turn in their films, and they were okay with it.
Yeah.
So we went to the library, we were working, and it just kept. Oh my god, it was so difficult.
Just not working.
Yeah, it was just not
and
working.
I at that point was just kind of like, you know what, we gave it our best shot. Should we just?
I know, just over here, like, dude, like let's just quit. And I'm like, dude. I'm not gonna quit. Like, there's no way I'm gonna quit after coming this far. Like, you know, that's like almost reaching your climax and not finishing. You're gonna be playing with blue balls forever.
It was just really bad because, you know, like we hadn't really like slept that well. Yeah. So, you know, we were just kind of like in the library, like, hey, bringo, boy.
Dude,
I know, for real.
Dude, it is stressful on the day
of. It is stressful.
Because it's not that like 12 a.m. It's like you have to turn in at 5 p.m. on the day, right? Yeah.
And
with all the equipment you borrow too.
Yeah.
We returned the equipment.
What was it? What was the saving grace? I think we figured out a file format that was compatible, actually.
That worked, yeah.
That worked perfectly because I think all the eligible formats that we tried using, the sound wouldn't come out, and we were just like stressing, and then we just kind of went through all the file formats until there was one that actually worked with the audio, and we were like, damn.
And we were exporting the whole film multiple times just through different files, I think.
Yeah, and that took because of the school computers are like Windows, like. Yeah,
they were Windows, you know, like. The point being, though, I'm just glad we got it done. It came out pretty decently.
Mediocre. You're about to say mediocre.
Both of them, but you know what? Both of them came out top 15.
That's what matters. Yeah. I remember. I still do it. Like I will do it this year. I will scream every time I film.
Dude, you should see Chris at these events, man.
Honestly, it's because everybody's so prim and proper when they're filming. You know, oh yeah, my film, right? I don't understand why they're not like excited. So like, you know, because we always kind of start our films in like dark or like in the darkness or kind of like, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, you want me to explain it? All the groups when they submit their film, there's usually about like 60, right?
Yeah.
30.
The first, 60 the first time we did it.
60 the first time, right?
Yeah.
The second time maybe it was like 50 something.
Yeah.
But so they gather them all. They weed them out a little bit, and they choose the top 15, and then the top 15 get shown at the premiere night. And so you know, everyone goes to premiere night. We all have a good time, and they show with no numbers or no sense. You just like it's there. It's in the top 15.
Yeah.
There's no actual rank.
1, 2, 3, 4. But like, I don't know. I don't understand why people don't cheer on their own film. So like, it's because I start screaming like a maniac. I'm like, yeah, that's our film.
This guy goes crazy.
Everyone's films, you know, like everyone's just kind of like, oh,
people scream. They're like, yeah.
Well,
and that's it. And that's it.
In the beginning, it's always like, oh yay, cool. But then after I scream, everybody screams.
My God, Chris. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa.
I get out of the seat. I'm like waving my arms around.
I was sitting next to Chris at the time, and I was like, yeah, let's go. And Chris was like, yeah. Okay. All right.
Like, I'll give you this, buddy. Like, I probably would have told you, like, hey, calm down. But then, you know, like, if we had gotten an award, I would have been the first, like, yeah.
Let's go.
Middle fingers to everyone.
My God. You know, it doesn't matter if we win or not. Chris.
You know.
Those are really fun though. But
it was.
Should we talk about our third film that we have coming up? So, our third film is called. Well, we're working on a title. It's either Alcoholics Anonymous or I was telling Alfonso, you know, like the liquidity of memory.
It's good. It's good. That's good. I like it. Dude,
I love that shit.
This idea is so good. Should we talk? I don't know.
Oh yeah, well.
I don't know. I don't think you should.
You think that someone would steal it?
Not that. I just feel like it's gonna spoil it.
Okay, well, I'll give some idea of it.
Yeah, because it's a great idea.
There's a Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. But I think the big thing about it is that we're doing a mix of live action with a bit of our animation work. But the thing is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Loving Vincent.
Yeah.
The Vincent Van Gogh tribute with the oil painting, rotoscoping.
Yeah.
So it's a bit similar to that, but not really, because we don't have the time to do that.
To actually fully rotoscope. Yeah. So
we're doing
the style of it is that the present is filmed in
live action, and the
memories are filmed in animation.
And they're animated with watercolor. They're going to be animated with watercolor to sort of symbolize like how fluid memory is.
Yep.
And how like unstable and how slippery it can kind of be.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
we're really passionate about that one. Hopefully this one we go to France.
No, honestly.
Because if you win the campus movie fest, you get an invitation.
Yeah, you
get
go
an invitation to
to
Canes.
Artemis,
Canes,
actually.
Artemis?
In Atlanta, right?
Yeah, in Atlanta, Georgia. And then if
Damn.
you win there, you go to Canes.
Damn.
It's just
I don't
hey.
know.
Step
But
one,
hey, if you go
step
to
one.
Artemis, right?
It's definitely something
It's,
more
dude,
than there's been one guy who keeps winning.
There is.
That guy's really good though.
He is really good.
He's
I'll give him that.
I'll give him
I
that.
like
He's
him.
really good.
He's cool, but I don't
Great
like his
guy, yeah.
messaging because I think it's very stereotypical.
Ooh,
Maybe
That's-
so,
that's
but he knows
that's
his way
the-
around the camera better than anyone else.
Yeah,
Well,
That's
now,
true. I'm not doubting his cinematography skills.
Yeah,
Cinematography and
It's
the
great.
color correction, I believe,
Yeah.
is probably the
His
best.
color
very
correction
good.
is
Yeah, it's really
Wow.
good. I'll
Wow.
admit it's better than anything I've seen out of that.
yeah.
But I just don't like the simplicity of his story.
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
think if anything to work on, if they're gonna critique anything, is just the story. If anything.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
guy, if he gets a good story, like let's say if he has your story mixed with him,
it's a GG
Well,
movie.
our stories, yeah.
I love his story. I just don't want you to spoil it because it's
Yeah, no,
so
Yeah, yeah.
good.
I feel that.
It's
Watch
really
someone
good.
take it.
Dude, when
I
did I
know.
even come? When did I even come with you with that? When was that? What was that? Were we in the car or something? I always feel like we're
I
in the
think
car.
we were just bouncing ideas off each other in the car to Adriana's house.
Uh-huh.
Something like that. We were just coming with different ideas.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's great. It's
we
great.
just kind of like eventually settled on that.
Yeah. I
It's
love
gonna be
that name
great.
though. That's
Liquidity
amazing.
of memory.
Ah.
Oh yeah, it sounds pretentious, right?
It
A little
sounds,
bit, little
dude,
bit.
it's
French
French
pretentious
No, I
film.
like it. I like it.
Do you remember Hamilton? Did you ever listen to Cabinet Battle Number 1?
Yeah.
When he's like, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
but-
And then he's like, don't be
Don't act
surprised,
you guys, 'cause I wrote 'em.
That's exactly
I've
how
never
you
seen
are
it.
right now.
Oh, it's yeah.
It's a
We've been
great
getting
film.
really into theater.
Yeah,
lately.
we have. Because
Oh,
my
yeah?
Well,
older brother is really into
Quote
theater.
unquote
Cool.
theater, because like Hamilton is kind of like the
Mainstream.
the mainstream.
Mainstream. It's still
play right
theater,
now,
though,
but it's
yeah.
still yeah.
Broadway.
It's a good gateway.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
gateway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But also something else that Chris and I had in the works is that we are working on our first short series project.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for that.
We're doing the writing for it currently, and we're thinking about music ideas. However, to get our better footing onto the YouTube space, we want to try doing storytime animations, but more with a twist.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, we're
Storytime is
working
good.
on building a fan base. Gotta build something to show it. Actually,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, we gotta actually have people
we
to
have
show
to
it
have
to.
some
Okay, exactly.
grounding, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
also, I guess my gripe with the story time animations right now is that it's mostly keyframes. So it's just like
Interesting.
one keyframe.
What is so talk about
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A keyframe is basically just one main frame, one main action or pose,
Uh-huh.
and then the in-betweens, and then another keyframe. So those in-betweens make that pose move, and then another keyframe.
I know. So I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I've done this
Okay.
before
Yeah.
in movies.
So-
yeah,
And
movies.
so a lot of storytime animations now on YouTube are based on just keyframe, like main pose, main pose, main pose, and it just changes like that
got
with
it,
very
got it.
few in-betweens, and it's usually the person telling the story, like, oh, okay, so back in high school, blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
here's a scope, the picture of the animation space on YouTube, which is more or less relatively dead or dying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's just so stressful. Because the thing is, though, with YouTube is that the popular videos are the ones that allow you to be more consistent, like vlogging
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
Plays.
Mhm.
Even then, that's kind of dying down.
Yeah.
But the things with animation is that they get killed because they have to consistently make videos every
Yeah.
week,
And
and
animation.
animation is not an easy task. It's not an easy
Exactly.
medium.
Mhm.
It takes a lot of time. Dude.
It
It
does.
takes a lot of time.
So the thing is, yeah, they have a story they constantly have the story to tell every week, and then they have to keyframe, or you have to like draw as much as they possibly can.
Mhm.
So there's very little to no movement. The stories could be interesting, but I think overall animation could be pushed a lot further on
Yeah.
YouTube.
I think a lot of things in YouTube could be pushed a lot further. I think like right now YouTube's kind of stagnating as in terms of content because people want to be more safe. You
Yeah.
get me? I don't blame them though. I mean, if you have like,
I mean, you gotta grow, and
Yeah.
if that's the way to grow.
you gotta
That's how you
promote
play
to
the
your
game.
audience, right?
You know?
You gotta play the game
You gotta
long
play the
and
game.
steady, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, there's
Motorhead.
no artistic freedom, so to speak. Or
I know what you mean. Like you want to
experimentation.
be, express yourself how you want it to be.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes that is not gonna get you far. Sometimes. You know?
Exactly.
Which is tough. I mean, you want to do your own thing, but
Yeah,
But your
It is what it
schedule
is.
doesn't really allow it because you have to stay up to date.
yeah. What the market demands, basically.
exactly. I mean, that's how it is. It's almost like you want to be artistic, but it's a business as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
which
have
is, it's
to-
just really heartbreaking for.
It
And we
is.
hope that with our projects that we're working on, we hope to be able to, kind of like inspire and maybe like help other people start some things up.
Yeah.
Like the more passion projects. Because I'm sure these guys are very talented.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have bigger things that they want to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just that they can't.
Well, it's to prove that it's viable.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that like they can't do it. I think it's because they don't want to because they're like like I don't want
You
to.
can't take a shot.
Well,
like
it's because no one wants to stick their neck out and be the first one to do it.
It's like a risk. You don't know if it's going to work or not.
And nobody wants to take a risk if the video is not going to make enough views.
Right.
You get me? Because then that's a whole week's worth of whatever.
Yeah, it's your paycheck coming out.
But
talking about startup though.
Oh, okay. So Startup Entertainment is our production company.
Yeah, that's the main umbrella.
That's the main umbrella where we have right now at the moment our animation department. Accent Studios.
Okay.
So Startup Entertainment, its goal it's just to. I've always seen it as a sort of an area where a community that allows like artists to be able to start up their dreams more or less.
Basically,
you know,
to come up basically like a cosign.
I want to be like kind of like their big jump start. I want to be able to provide like that's what I did with the football amateur shows. I want to be able to provide some tools or some knowledge or inspiration as to how you can sort of do something too if you really try.
Yeah,
I like
because
that idea,
I think a lot of young artists. The thing is, how do I put this in a way that makes sense? People think about the thing they want the most, and a lot of people want money, right? But the thing is, if you don't master or if you don't try to have fun with what you're doing, then money isn't going to be important because you're always going to be miserable. And especially when you're young, you have all the time to do anything you want. Yeah. I mean, like I always tell Tristen this. It's like, you know, the only thing we're going to lose is the shirts off our backs and maybe our car. You know, but I can't.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta risk something. You know, you gotta put your work into it, and if that means you have to sell your car to get some equipment, you know. Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I feel, because I've done a few projects here and there. I've done a YouTube channel that I felt was like I thought I was gonna make that bigger, but then I lost feeling into it. I think the main problem is like when you're starting a new project, like a new big project. I feel like you have to come in with it with a purpose.
Yeah. Exactly.
Otherwise, if you don't have that purpose, then you're just doing it just to put content out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It loses its passion. That loses its quality.
Once you have that purpose, I feel like you can work a lot. Like you get motivated to work for it because you feel like you have a meaning to it, and I feel like that's what I felt with the Football Amateur show because I feel like there's a meaning towards it. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. But anyway, and
that's why I continue, working on the show. It's very fun.
But it's that idea of purpose, right? That I like because I think a lot of content on YouTube is very surface level. Yeah. And it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, like, think about it. You have 1 million subscribers and you're telling stories about, like, oh, this thing happened in high school. When you could be telling a story that could actually help people grow as individuals.
Like a meaning to it.
Yeah, you get me? I mean, again, I don't want to berate people who want to do entertainment for the sake of entertainment. Right, because I understand that, like, after a long day, you don't want to hear a meaningful freaking tale about, like...
You just want to hear something mundane and fun.
Even if it's just entertainment, that's a purpose as well.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? If that purpose is what you want to do, you just want to entertain, then, go for it. You know? You're passionate about it, then go for it. I know, that's my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's definitely valid.
You know?
Definitely.
But, yeah, we just hope to do like kind of like a bigger story is more or less than what normally. Like, do you want to talk about Audi a little bit, or
yeah, sure. I'll talk about Audi. So it's basically a love story that happens in college, and in some sense is a critique on just the culture in large on how romance is like played. Because romance now, it's kind of like, okay, you meet somebody on Tinder, you bang them, and then you leave. Then you meet another person on Tinder, and you bang him, and then you leave. And I think it's evil for the soul. Particularly to do that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have sexual freedom or you shouldn't date anybody or shouldn't try to have fun, but I think once you cross the line over to a sexual relationship, that really complicates things. You get me? For people, because it's an emotional thing, and I think people, especially in college, I almost feel like it's encouraged for people to just like have
because we're young.
Sex. Yeah, because you're young, and I mean, I don't think a wife ever wakes up regretting, oh man, I wish I got more dick back in college. You feel me? Right? Or like a husband
waking up one day like, damn, I should have banged that girl.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah. I think I think meaningful relationships happen, right? I think meaningful relationships happen when you're committed to one person because I don't know, you become that person's everything. And I think that's what matters in life more than just like, oh, I'm gonna sleep with this person and that person, like this buffet. Like, why would you want to go to a buffet when you could go to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant?
Hell's Kitchen?
I mean, yeah.
No.
Maybe. Not if you're not if you're in the kitchen, if you're being served.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like,
I suppose. So Audi is more or less
Audie's the animation thing you're doing, right?
Yeah. Yes, that is our project, but it's gonna, we're still gonna be a while on that because we got to build our fan base. But
and I'm gonna be a voice.
It is a story.
Yeah, you can be a voice.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
It is so I basically summarized it on the Football Amateur Show as a critique on the sort of the culture of romance during our years in college
and youth and like.
But it's told through the eyes of anthropomorphic electronic devices.
Yeah, anthropomorphic. Like, is that even anthropomorphic? Because
anthropomorphic means like like they're humanistic, but they're not humans. Like with Toy Story
type thing.
Yeah, Toy Story. They're anthropomorphic toys.
Got it.
Yeah, and that's the story. I think people need to know that it's okay to settle down at a young age. I don't think you need to be like, you need experience. As people tell you, go out and bang as many people or date as many people.
Yeah.
I think again, have fun and date if you want. Just don't have promiscuous sex, I guess. But there's more to it that I have to develop in my mind before I could explain it fully and clearly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's still developing. It's still a work in progress. It's developing, because that's not coming out yet. But we do have design works, some pre-production stuff ready. That we'll be able to show you eventually. We can't put it out.
Come on, man.
So,
just kidding.
Some
your character.
Yeah, come on, dude. I need to know my character's background. I need to know everything, man.
He could be DT.
I need to be.
We'll see. We'll talk about it off air.
I'm a method actor. Hey, I'm a method actor, so I need to know everything. All right, give me the whole. Give me the whole. Background.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. I think I got everything off my checklist. Let's see.
Cool.
Talk about our short films. Talk about Audi. Plug myself at Brownamator.
Yeah. I'll plug myself at Audis on Instagram.
That's your art name, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about
how do you spell that? How do you spell that?
You spell that AUTISS.
Hey, you were able to spell it.
Yeah, come on, man. I'm not that bad.
I actually like the reasoning behind your name. The reasoning behind my artistic name is not so as beautiful.
What is it, Brownamator?
It's Brownamator. It's just, hey, I'm Brown. I'm an animator.
There you go. Boom.
Brownamator.
That's all you need.
But
you see, never mind. It's _Audis. So AUTISS. Excuse me, guys. I need to check.
But talk about how you came up with it, buddy.
I came up with it because I'm autistic, right? And so the word autistic, right? And I was thinking like it's kind of beautiful because autist almost sounds like artist. You get me?
Gotcha.
And I thought it'd be a good play on words, kind of, so to speak. And I just
artist and autistic.
And I love the way it kind of connects to that because as a special needs kid, I think special needs children are very attuned to like art. And they really love art.
Oh yeah, really crazy.
You get me?
Yeah.
And so I guess I kind of wanted to pay homage to my past in some sense and be proud that I am autistic.
Like a lot of you're telling me a lot of animators tend to be normally like autistic or they have some sort of deficiency.
Honestly, to be an animator, you kind of have to be autistic. You kind of do. Like,
I guess I'm missing out on something.
Tristan, come on, man.
You got to be kind of like
someone hit me in the head.
You got to be kind of off your marbles to say, you know what? I'm gonna draw cartoons for like I don't know, like 10 cents a frame. And I'm gonna be like in complete tired mess.
I know what you mean. Maybe not like obsessed or more dedicated.
Yeah, they're more dedicated for sure. Yeah, definitely. You get me? Not that they're like they have like a mental disability or anything.
No. I know what you mean.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't even know you were autistic. Actually, you don't seem like. Are you like?
He's kind of on the lighter end of the spectrum.
Dude, what do you mean? Like
he's been around me long enough to know
that I'm catching it.
Yeah, I mean you are kind of. You stay around me long enough.
It's rubbing off. It's rubbing off. No, you're good.
It's probably not PC enough for this college campus.
It's fine. They don't have to. They're not gonna sponsor us anyway. Don't worry about it. They never will,
dude. But I don't know that. That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't seem it. I mean, look.
Yeah, I mean, I don't seem like it, but I think there's a lot of kids out there that they have like if you are autistic and you're kind of like lower on the spectrum, like man, don't worry about it. Go out and conquer the world.
Yeah.
Like don't let people tell you can't.
It's really cool that you are, and then you represent that community or that demographic.
I forgot there was a guy named he was like what was it like America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Cody Lee.
That was amazing.
Cody Lee. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
You get me?
You guys gotta check that out.
I've always said that the problem with autism is it's a person being trapped by his own body and not being physically able to communicate what he wants to communicate or she wants to communicate. You get me? Like that's why they kind of they make noises. They're like this. It's because I feel like they want to say something, but their body just doesn't allow them to. And so like with Cody Lee, right? Like he's autistic, and he's blind, but he somehow managed beyond all that to, I guess, traverse his mind so that he's able to communicate with words.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, he can't even, like, talk that well beforehand. Like, hey, how's it going? Hey. But once he starts singing, it's... Dude, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in a long time, man.
Made me cry.
Legit made me cry, dude.
I was just
so
like,
nice.
get it, man.
It's so beautiful.
He sings so well too. Like, he didn't sing. Like, he sang well.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not even like where you kind of give like pity. Like, okay, he's autistic. You're just like, damn.
This guy really sang well. Like,
that was a damn moment. But like,
my God, it was so cool.
Yeah, people with disabilities, man. Like Albert Einstein was said to be autistic. Look
oh, really? Yeah, that's what I heard too.
A lot of those scientists kind of,
Are you saying leaders of the field tend to be?
Yeah.
Have some kind of mental disability?
Yeah, because like, it's like, well, I'll be honest. It's because what autism really is, it's like with senses, right? It's kind of like Daredevil. Like all other senses kind of like fade and you only have a really good kind of one specific sense.
Okay.
So like a lot of those mathematicians, they're autistic because they're really good with numbers, but that's all they're good at. You get me? And so that's why they tend to be really great scientists because that's all they focus on.
I see what you mean. I mean, they don't have to be autistic.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
They don't have to be autistic.
I know what you mean.
It's not a requirement. You feel me?
It's like, oh, well, I guess I got to give up on my dream.
Right? For a Cambridge PhD in mathematics or astrophysics, like it isn't like, oh, you're not autistic?
Yeah. Like you can still do it, guys. Yeah. You can still go for it, but that's interesting, man. Do you want to talk about what the podcast is going to like be about maybe like in the future?
Oh, yeah. So this first episode is just about us, but I do have some ideas in mind of people that I probably want to bring on because this show is really about like, like helping out like local artists or just like artists in general or just like expanding to help
I like it.
Boost artists. So I have a few ideas coming up. That's kind of like where this podcast is going, but I like us right now, like Alfonso, do you think you're going to be a returning host?
I'm here anyways. I'm just kidding. Of course, dude.
You're already here for the long session for the football amateur show.
Just kidding.
Like, I'm already here, dog.
Might as well just go on. I'm just kidding. No, of course, dude. Of course, man. And voice acting, dude. Hey, they promised me a part on that. Animation.
We
You gotta expand my my word limit contract on the football amateur show.
You guys talk about this. It's not about me. I'm out of this.
You get more words about main character. I'm just kidding. Hey, we'll negotiate later. We got that main character's role though, all right?
Honestly.
We'll see about that, buddy. You got to audition just like the rest.
Go through the casting and everything, man.
I think we're going to wrap this episode short because we've been recording for a while already for a bunch of stuff for the other football amateur show. But thank you all for joining, for listening. This should be up on probably next week as of recording, but you don't know when we're recording, so it doesn't matter. It should be up on, probably follow the same path that the football amateur show takes with Anchor.com, so it'll probably be on iTunes and Spotify.
Sounds good.
And eventually we'll probably switch over to YouTube as a test before the football amateur show does.
For sure.
You sure you guys don't want filming?
Right now, we're not gonna film right now.
We're just recording.
We're just recording. We've been here all day. We want to go home.
No, not now. Later.
Oh, later, later. I guess.
That's what I'm
later
saying.
on, maybe
Define later. Later, like in an hour or
no, what? Fool. I mean, like whenever's your next podcast.
Oh yeah, we could do the next one. We'll do the second one maybe filmed. Okay. We'll try to incorporate this a little bit. We got to get some design work done first. Yeah. Well, I
honestly think this is a great design studio. But you guys can't see our studios, so you'll never know. Boom. Not yet, at least.
I mean, they hear about it a lot. They're probably wondering what our classroom is like by now.
That's what I'm saying.
But anyway.
Oh, man. All right, so thank you all for listening. I am your host, Tristen Mancilla at Brownamator. We have our co-host,
Alfonso Castaneda at Alfonso C96.
Or
I think.
The host of the football, the.fa.show, football amateur show. Catch me on there too as a co-host with less words per minute. And,
he's still a great host, by the way. He's still a great host. Yeah,
I love.
He does a good job. He does a good job.
I'm not gonna talk about it now, but I do love being on the show.
Yeah, he's doing great.
And me, Chris Aceves. You can find me at _Audis _AUTISS.
All right. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.